Hello, I'm Lauren Sivan, and welcome to the Awakening event. I'm joined today by Charlie Shrem, arguably the most influential person in cryptocurrencies. He's created one of the first crypto exchanges where up to 1/3 of all Bitcoin transactions took place, was a founding member of the Bitcoin Foundation, and his work is considered by many to be the driving force behind Bitcoin's meteoric rise, helping to build it from virtually nothing to over a $200 billion global juggernaut. Today, he's stepping forward to reveal a revolutionary new event taking place in the Bitcoin world he says the average person is completely unaware of. He calls it the Awakening. He says nobody, including Bitcoin's staunchest supporters, know that it's coming. He calls it the single most important development since the creation of Bitcoin itself. It will change everything about your daily life, from how you pay your bills, how you invest and save your money, how you buy a home, even the way you vote. It will change every single aspect of modern society. Now, he's not sharing the news of this incredible event on CNBC, Fox News, CNN, or any other media outlet. He has chosen to reveal it publicly for the first time ever here in an exclusive interview. If you missed the run-up that occurred in 2017 when Bitcoin surged to nearly $20,000, hold on tight, because he says you have not seen anything yet. This could be the most important message you hear for years to come. The last time an event like this unfolded, it minted nearly 18,000 new millionaires. Charlie says the Awakening will dwarf that number in comparison. In short, this is the Bitcoin event you do not want to miss. He'll also reveal the #1 cryptocurrency you should own right now for free right here. Well, surprisingly, it's not Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any other cryptocurrency you've heard about before. But before I get to that, also joining us, legendary crypto investor Matt McCall. This year alone, some of Matt's crypto recommendations have gone up as much as 750%, which is 11 times better than Bitcoin's performance this year. And over the last 10 years, Matt has recommended dozens of stocks that have gone up between 100% and 900%, and 18 recommendations that have soared past the coveted 1,000% mark. In fact, one of McCall's recent winners was a company called Workhorse, which went up over 500% in less than 2 months. Today, Matt and Charlie are sharing the stage for the first time ever. They both agree an enormous event is about to catch everybody by surprise. The information they're about to unveil here could mint a new class of crypto millionaires, just like the historic rally in 2017. Beginning with the recommendation they're about to unveil in this very broadcast. So Charlie, you are obviously a legend in the Bitcoin community. You've made some controversial Bitcoin predictions over the years, but your latest prediction might be your most audacious one yet.
That's right, Lauren. It's without a doubt my most important call to date. It doesn't matter if you're a casual Bitcoin observer, one of the die-hard faithful, or don't even know what Bitcoin is. You need to know what's happening because it's going to affect everyone in America. You at home, your next door neighbor, even you, Lauren, It doesn't matter who you are or where you live. This will drastically change every single aspect of modern society. I'm talking about the way you buy everyday goods and services, how you pay your taxes, buy a home, and even the way you vote. The Awakening won't just be the biggest thing to happen in cryptocurrencies since the creation of Bitcoin itself. It will be the biggest thing since the mass adoption of the internet. TechCrunch proclaims it is a tsunami-like phenomenon, enveloping everything along its way by the force of its progression. The New York Observer said, "Remember the dawn of the internet and imagine the launch of the first printing press. Get ready for something similar. Right now, it's impossible to imagine how far it will go." And the Huffington Post reports that it can usher in a Halicon age of prosperity for all. If you're paying attention to it, if you know it's coming, it will absolutely transform your life, and it could hand you a fortune in the coming years. That's why I've chosen this special venue to get the message out.
Well, we're certainly grateful that you've chosen us to help you make this huge announcement, because if anyone knows where Bitcoin is headed, it is you, Charlie. After all, you were there from the very beginning.
I was. Back in 2011, the concept of digital money was alien to most people. If you asked anyone on the street what Bitcoin or cryptocurrency was, you just get a blank look. We're talking early days. I was a computer programmer in a business. I had just started out of college. I was living in my parents' basement, so I was fortunate to be dialed into that world. I was likely among the first few people to receive the white paper that started it all, outlining a new way to store and transfer value digitally and safely.
So the white paper, you are referring to Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper that ushered in the era of Bitcoin, yes?
Yep, this is where it all started. I was one of the first to see it. Keep in mind, this was shortly after the financial crisis that occurred in 2008. I knew after reading about Bitcoin and the blockchain that this was going to change America, heck, the world, in big ways. I decided right there and then to dedicate my life to the Bitcoin movement.
You know, most people aren't familiar with Charlie's role in the advancement of Bitcoin, Lauren. You know, he was one of its pioneering advocates. He started one of the first exchanges, making it easy for the masses to both buy and trade Bitcoin. That alone is revolutionary. You know, I even found this video on Twitter of Charlie and fellow crypto pioneer Eric Voorhees mining Bitcoin back when it was $21 in 2012. Do you realize since that time, Bitcoin has climbed over 42,000%? He was also one of the founding members of the Bitcoin Foundation. You know, that was aimed at bringing mainstream awareness to digital currencies, as well as several key businesses that promoted the use of digital currencies. And keep in mind, during all this, the mainstream establishment basically laughed in his face. The government, the media, Wall Street, they all hated Bitcoin. No one believed it would amount to anything, but not Charlie. Always a believer, he persevered, never wavering his belief. Look where we are today. Everybody wants a piece of the action. There's trillion-dollar companies that have turned their attention and deep pockets towards Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. You know, for example, the world's biggest companies who have long track records of backing the biggest and most important trends have just kicked off a new battle for crypto supremacy. You know, companies like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and even Facebook are all investing billions to emerge as a leader. Wall Street wants in as well. Paul Tudor Jones, who's easily one of the most successful and influential investors in history, said every passing day that Bitcoin survives, the trust increases. He also said we could be witnessing an historic moment for Bitcoin. And he admitted that he's a big buyer of Bitcoin and that it could outperform all the other assets that his legendary fund holds. You know, back in 2017, JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon went as far as calling anyone who owned Bitcoin stupid. And now, under his leadership, JP Morgan has his very own cryptocurrency. A few years ago, most of these guys would have been caught dead holding Bitcoin. Now, they can't buy it fast enough, Charlie.
Guess who else is on board, Lauren? Today, the most powerful governments in the world are embracing cryptos and the huge potential of blockchain technology. There are at least 40 countries that have blockchain or crypto projects in the works. Countries like Germany, Canada, China, even the US. In March, a bill was introduced in Congress called the Cryptocurrency Act of 2020. This level of interest and involvement didn't exist a couple of years ago. Even the media has done a complete 180. Keep in mind, just a few years ago, these outlets were using words like fraud, scam, and bubble to describe cryptocurrency and even me. Today, they're singing a much different tune.
And it's thanks largely to work that Charlie's been doing over the last 11 years. But as much as Bitcoin has grown, from a white paper concept to a worldwide phenomenon, it's the next chapter of the cryptocurrency story that everyone needs to know about. If you were sitting on the sidelines during the massive Bitcoin surge in 2017, you haven't missed out on the biggest gains, because this next wave is where the biggest riches will be made. Yet few people are even paying attention to it. Mark my words, what's coming will be bigger than anything that's happened in Bitcoin.
And that is?
Specifically, I'm talking about the rise of a new breed of cryptocurrencies known as altcoins.
So altcoins, this is what you mean when the lesser known, the mini version of Bitcoin as they're known?
Well, it's almost correct, Lauren. Let me explain. You see, right now, there's a fuse being lit under the altcoin market. The fuse will set off one of the largest explosions of wealth in modern history. People who invest modest stakes in altcoins could make millions of dollars. But to truly understand the magnitude of this opportunity, you must understand that altcoins aren't really cryptocurrencies in the way most people think about them.
What? They're not. Okay, I thought these altcoins were all battling to be the next Bitcoin. I mean, just look at the extraordinary Bitcoin-like gains that some of these altcoins have posted over the last few years. 2,905% from Clippercoin, 15,455% from Agrisha, 2,640% from Seal, 132,712% from Redcoin, and over 25,000% from Luna. 262,195% from
Einsteinium.
You got it, Charlie. And an incredible 1,581,492% from Verge. So any one of these altcoins could have made you millionaire many times over. I know I'm kicking myself for not jumping in, but Charlie, with so many altcoins out there, it just seems impossible to know which ones are legit.
It's true that these altcoins are going up by amazing multiples, in some cases even outperforming Bitcoin. But to know why many altcoins are about to skyrocket to thousands of percent in value, you need to know that these assets aren't fantasy internet money. You need to understand what's really driving these things skyward.
So, Charlie, a lot of people say that buying Bitcoin, that's the only safe way to make money in crypto. But you're actually saying altcoins are a safe, reliable way to make money here?
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time thinking about this. And what I've learned is that the best way to make a lot of money is to invest in altcoins, then roll the profits into Bitcoin or other major cryptos. I'm ideologically in love with Bitcoin, but I also like earning money for my family. You see, skeptics like to point out that if we have Bitcoin, why do we need hundreds of other altcoins on the market? I'm here to let you know that this might be the single most expensive belief on the market right now. It could easily cost you $1 million in lost profit over the next 12 months. Altcoins are investments in one of the most valuable, most revolutionary technologies ever created. When people wake up to the fact that altcoins aren't fantasy internet money or a wannabe version of Bitcoin, there will be an enormous rush into this asset class. It'll be like a mass awakening.
And this is what you've been talking about, Charlie. Of course, the awakening. This is what you've been referring to.
Yeah, this will lead to mainstream acceptance of altcoins as a serious investment vehicle, and they will create a multi-trillion-dollar tsunami of wealth for their owners. Here's how. Remember, the underlying technology behind Bitcoin and altcoins is blockchain. You've probably heard all the buzzwords surrounding blockchain. Experts are calling it more revolutionary than cotton gin, the steam engine, the PC, and the smartphone combined. Financial Post is calling blockchain a bigger revolution than the internet itself, and according to Forbes, it'll usher in the fourth industrial revolution, and I really believe that.
Well, I've heard about blockchain before. I've heard it's going to be revolutionary, but I've got to admit, Charlie, I don't really understand blockchain at all.
And that's okay. It all comes down to three words: transformational, technology, platform. Blockchain is the next great transformational technology platform. Now, I'll elaborate on what that means, Lauren. We all know what transformation is. It's a wholesale change, like when a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, or when a toddler becomes a teenager. But most folks aren't familiar with the platform side of transformational technology platforms. Knowing how transformational technology platforms create vast change and wealth could give you a huge edge in the rest of the world over the coming decade. Electricity is one of the great examples of this. The harnessing of the electrical power in the early 1900s transformed the world. It gave birth to our use of light bulbs, refrigerators, radios, televisions, telephones, air conditioners. The list goes on and on. Electric power was the platform from which all those incredible innovations sprang to life. You don't have any of those things without electric power. The world after we harnessed electricity looked completely and totally different than the world we know before it, because electric power is transformational technology platform.
One of the key features of transformational tech platform is that it doesn't just touch one or two major industries, it touches all industries. Its transformational effects make their way into all areas of our lives.
Yeah, the computer is another transformational technology platform. It powers our digital world today. It has made us vastly more productive and lowered the price of just about everything. Computers allow us to store huge amounts of information in a small space, make complex calculations with ease, process vital statistics, organize files, keep inventory, and perform crazy amounts of other tasks. There isn't an industry or business in the world today that the computer hasn't immensely helped. It's foundational. The internet is another one. The platform technology of the internet gave life to social networking, e-commerce, video streaming, and innovative companies like Amazon, Facebook, Netflix, eBay, Google, and Yahoo.
So there's the internet. You also mentioned computers, electricity. That's not a whole lot of transformational platforms. I'm getting the feeling that you don't actually see many of these revolutionary new platforms come around in one lifetime, right?
Laura, let me jump in real quick here. These revolutions, they are very rare. We saw the emergence of just a handful in the 20th century. Electric power, Charlie talked about, computers, the internet, even smartphones. Each one presented colossal wealth building opportunities. A modest investment into any one of them could have set someone up for life. If you look at the folks who invested or built businesses on these platforms, incredible fortunes were made. Early shares of Microsoft turned every $1,000 into over $2 million. Oh my God. And early Amazon investors made over 210,000%. That's the potential we're talking about here today, Charlie and I. That's why it's so important to know what transformational technology platforms are. The big takeaway here is the more a technology changes the world for the better, the more revenue it will generate and the bigger the gains will be for investors. That is why blockchain is going to be so huge. That's why some high-profile insiders are saying it will be bigger than the internet. It's going to touch virtually every industry on planet Earth. Put simply, blockchain is an ultra-safe and secure way to store information. It is the safest way to store and transfer information that has ever been created. I'm talking about your financial and banking information, your personal healthcare information, proprietary business information, contracts, tax information, credit card payments, real estate transactions, and even the energy sector. I mean, this list goes on and on, Charlie.
It's just getting me all excited as we're talking about it. It's a totally new, totally secure way of storing and transferring information. Censorship resistance. So much of our modern economy rests on the flow of safe, secure, and accurate information. This means that blockchain's potential uses are as wide and varied as any technology on the planet. Since the emergence of transformational tech platforms are so rare, and since their wealth creation effects are so large, you must act when you see one taking shape, which is why this message is so critical. It's all about timing. So here's what your typical technology adoption curve looks like. Every major platform, technology, or innovation has followed the same path. Remember, the internet has been around since the 1970s. It was used by a very few government agencies and maybe one or two big universities. But it wasn't until the early 1990s that people finally woke up to its true potential, that everybody could use it, that it could improve all of our lives. And that's when the technology exploded into the mainstream. And people who got in early made fortunes. You'll notice it wasn't until around the year 2000 that we entered that mass adoption phase and things began to really take off.
So the internet had its own awakening.
Exactly. So did computers. They existed for years in the background before they began appearing in businesses and homes across the world. And just like the internet, the innovators and early movers got insanely rich. Electricity, the same story.
The beautiful part about all this, Lauren, is that the next big tech awakening is still in front of us. The Wall Street Journal calls blockchain a foundational technology like electricity and the internet. And that's why our message today is so important. The blockchain megatrend will surge through the economy and our lives like a multi-trillion-dollar wealth-creating tsunami. Wow. It will make us vastly more efficient and more productive. It will lower the price of just about everything. Just like the world after we harness electricity looked totally different than the one before, the world after this new transformational tech platform will look totally different than the one that we're living in today. I'm talking about massive, massive change. We are entering an incredible and unprecedented new era. The World Economic Forum predicts 10% of the global GDP will be stored on a blockchain in roughly just 4 years, which will equal about $14.2 trillion. And that's just the beginning. In a few decades, over $70 trillion can be stored on a blockchain, and that's a conservative estimate. But here's the thing. The impact and benefit of blockchain technology to society far exceeds a storage of wealth. It's so much bigger than that. Like I said, this revolution is going to change everything, from credit cards to real estate, energy, e-commerce, electric vehicles, home healthcare, voting, identity theft. It's all about to change because of the blockchain. Bitcoin was the proof case. It proved that the blockchain worked and could live up to its hype. And for the most part, over the last 10 years, the success of blockchain technology has been tied to the success of Bitcoin. But thankfully, people are starting to wake up to its true potential. And that is why Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, the Department of Defense, Homeland Security, and virtually every other major corporation and government agency are all investing billions into blockchain technology. Now then billionaires, they're going all into blockchain as well. Look at Microsoft founder Bill Gates, Shark Tank star and Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban, the founder of Oracle Larry Ellison, eBay's first president Jeff Skoll, the co-founder of PayPal Max Levchin, Virgin founder and billionaire Sir Richard Branson, and then Alibaba founder Jack Ma. Remember, Bitcoin is an asset. It goes up and down in price like any other financial asset. But the blockchain, it's revolutionary. It's not this fantasy internet money or even a currency. If you're going to take full advantage of the awakening, you need to understand this important difference. What happens next because of the awakening will lay the foundation of an entirely new world. The way you work, how you buy clothes, your groceries, your home, how you save for retirement. You name it. The blockchain is going to make it better and more transparent. It's a complete paradigm shift, Lauren.
Wow, it's huge. And Charlie, I got to ask you, because you once gave a TED Talk and said that the blockchain will have the biggest impact on humanity since the invention of the printing press. So could you elaborate on what you mean by that?
Yeah, of course. What few people understand is that the printing press, what I consider the original OG platform technology, is probably the most revolutionary invention in the history of mankind. Bigger than cars, bigger than the computer, bigger than the internet, even fire.
Whoa.
Before the printing press, all knowledge was controlled by the elite and the ruling class, people like kings, queens, and the church. In other words, information was centralized. People didn't need to learn how to read or write because kings and queens and other members of the ruling class would tell you what to think. But once the printing press was invented, everything changed. It single-handedly pulled Europe out of the Dark Ages. The literacy rate began to drastically climb because people now needed to learn how to read. It accelerated human progress at a rate not previously seen until the advent of the internet. New revolutionary ideas can be quickly produced and shared with the masses. Ancient wisdom from philosophers like Plato and Aristotle could be placed in every person's hand. It laid the foundation for the scientific revolution and allowed for ideas to be shared and challenged. The ability to spread ideas and form new public opinion gave birth to the French and American revolutions. We wouldn't have a modern democracy, maybe even in America, without the printing press. 100%. The printing press was the first real shock to the system, allowing people to freely share ideas and thoughts. The open exchange of ideas and value is the bedrock of a free society and free markets. Blockchain is going to do the same thing for our modern world, except on a much grander, much more profound scale. Wow. All the institutions and industries sitting at the top are about to get radically upended, Lauren. How you search for things online, how you buy goods and services, how you borrow money, how you heat your home, how you interact with people online, it's basically controlled by a handful of institutions. You know who they are. When you watch TV, on the nightly news, the information is coming from just a handful of sources. Same thing with banking, credit cards, and energy. Again, you know who they are. Knowledge is power, and when you control information, you control the people. When the few rule, the many suffer. If a dictator or regime wants to gain control of a country or territory, the first thing they do is control the flow of information and change the narrative. It's what Nazi Germany did. It's what North Korea is currently doing. The blockchain, unlike the printing press or the internet, it can't be controlled by a central power or manipulated, which is why it's already being called the new internet or Internet 2.0. It's taking the power back from the few and giving it into the hands of the masses. Rigged elections and the perpetual corruption in DC could soon be a thing of the past. Listen, to be clear, I'm not an anarchist or a socialist. I'm not trying to overthrow or redistribute anything. I'm a capitalist, born and bred. And the blockchain is the most revolutionary capitalistic technology I have ever seen. It's why I've been involved with Bitcoin and other blockchain projects since day one, and it's why I'm still here at this moment today. The blockchain gives the power back to the citizens, to the consumer, to you, to the patient, and to the individual. It's just like the impact of the printing press or the internet. What happens next will fundamentally change every aspect of our lives for the better. Listen, we're about to witness a renaissance not seen for hundreds of years. The blockchain is going to rewrite the rules of everything. I'm getting worked up over here. Because listen, this will allow free markets, free trade, and small businesses to flourish in a way that our grandparents dreamed of. All the social and political unrest taking place all around the world is rooted in a lack of trust and accountability. The blockchain is building a new future society and economy based on trust and accountability. And I've been saying it for 10 years. The gatekeepers, bureaucrats, and the middlemen of the world are about to get destroyed. And good riddance. Blockchain is going to make everything more transparent, efficient, and honest. I know this all sounds too good to be true, but it's already here. It's happening right now, and only 1 in 1,000 people know about it. But this is quickly changing. Governments, businesses, and individuals are beginning to wake up to the possibilities. And just like the creation and adoption of the internet, this awakening is about to unleash a multi-trillion-dollar tsunami of new wealth. It's going to mint an unimaginable number of new millionaires and billionaires. The next Bill Gates or the next Jeff Bezos will likely be a blockchain investor or entrepreneur. Anyone who acts now could turn a small investment into a lifetime of wealth. Blockchain is already making a huge impact on banking, finance, law enforcement, energy, insurance, real estate, and supply chain management, to name a few. And this barely scratches the surface, Lauren.
All right, now you're getting me all worked up. And you're right, Charlie, it does sound too good to be true. But what will this change look like to the regular folks, to everyday people like me, you? Can you give us just some examples of how these different industries are waking up to this potential of the blockchain?
Of course. There are so many examples and projects already in the works. I could go on for days. One huge part of the global economy already being disrupted by blockchain is the $22 trillion financial services industry. There's probably no other industry on the planet more associated with fraud and corruption and lack of transparency than the financial industry. We all know it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, have you ever had a fraudulent charge posted to your debit or credit card?
Of course.
Has your bank account ever been hacked? Have you been the victim of identity theft? I have. In total, over $16 billion is lost in fraud and scams each year. And most of it happens to the folks who are most vulnerable, like the elderly. All of this is about to be a thing of the past. To combat this growing threat, companies like Visa, MasterCard, and virtually every major bank are investing billions to squash this financial fraud and all these scams. The blockchain is also about to disrupt the $90 trillion global stock market, revolutionizing the way we invest and the way we grow our retirement through the stock market. Soon, you'll be able to trade stocks and exchange money across countries' borders in seconds and with 100% confidence. The world's biggest stock exchange, like the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, and the Tokyo Exchange, have already begun using the blockchain for a growing number of their transactions. In fact, an executive of the NASDAQ exchange has just admitted that he's going all in on using the blockchain because it's so secure and reliable. Another example is title insurance. You've probably bought and sold at least one house in your life. How ridiculous is it that we have to pay someone hundreds of dollars, even thousands in some case, to research and verify a property's title history? Title insurance fees cost American homebuyers more than $11 billion last year. I know, I didn't believe it either. It's a totally ridiculous scam that's put on regular Americans. However, blockchain technology will make today's price gouging title insurance industry a thing of the past. Soon, blockchain programs will research and verify a property's title for you in seconds for a tiny fraction of what today's title insurance companies charge. This will save everyone who buys or sells a home lots of money and hassle. Or take real estate agents. It's a disgrace that American home buyers and sellers must pay hundreds of billions of dollars annually to real estate brokers just to sell their homes. If you or someone you know is a real estate agent, I'm sorry, but your time has come. We need real estate agents as much as we need old school stockbrokers buying and selling stocks for us. Blockchain technology will make today's price gouging real estate brokers a thing of the past. Blockchain programs will facilitate and execute real estate transactions for a fraction of what today's real estate brokers charge. This will save everyone who buys or sells a home lots of money, time, and hassle. And then you have the payment processing companies. If you ever owned a business or worked close to the money in someone else's business, you know companies that facilitate credit card payments, called payment processors, can charge over 3% of the transaction's value. I don't know about you, But I think it's ridiculous that credit card companies and payment processors charge small businesses 3% of all the transactions.
Yeah.
All told, transactions cost retailers at least $108 billion in fees last year. However, blockchain technology will make today's price gouging payment processors a thing of the past. Soon, blockchain programs will process customer payments for a tiny fraction of what today's payment processors charge. This will save everyone who buys or sells anything lots of money. Remember, one of the key features of a transformational tech platform is that it doesn't touch just one or two major industries, it touches all industries. Its transformational effects make their way into all areas of our lives. Perhaps the biggest surprise to me has been the adoption of blockchain by governments across the world, specifically the Western Hemisphere. Americans' trust in their government and their elected representative, it's near all-time lows, and many believe blockchain is the answer to rebuilding trust with citizens. The blockchain will serve the voters and help eliminate fraud by verifying and recording all votes in an encrypted, decentralized manner. Americans will finally be able to vote from home in a legitimate and secure fashion. It'll also be the champion for the taxpayer, because every bit of government spending will be now recorded on the blockchain ledger. Americans will finally get the best service at the best price, like a business. No more hidden budgets, agendas, footnotes, backroom deals. Blockchain is already being used in places like Brazil to monitor government contract bids to help squash corruption and crony capitalism. So when governments reduce costs and become more efficient and transparent, we all win. Everybody wins. There are at least 9 US government agencies that are experimenting with blockchain right now. The Department of Defense is going all in on blockchain too. It's using it to create a more efficient, robust, and secure platform for communication on and off the battlefield. This could drastically reduce the casualty rate of soldiers and civilians around the world, our family. And then you have America's infrastructure. I have to say, it's a national disgrace. And to make matters worse, America's infrastructure costs are significantly higher and growing than other countries. A lot of this higher cost comes from outdated regulations, our bidding process for contracts, and how it's oversight. Much like other parts of the government, the blockchain will make the bidding process transparent, so taxpayers will always get to see the best deal. And it'll help municipalities and companies keep track of materials, permits, and contracts. But the biggest contribution that the blockchain will have on infrastructure is funding. So do you remember that blockchains can digitize and record ownership of any physical asset?
Sure.
This allows anything from a football stadium to a piece of fine art to be broken into smaller parts and can easily keep track of many owners. Toll bridges, highways, stadiums, convention centers, parking garages, and rail train projects could soon be funded by individuals like you and I. You'll be able to collect income from your investment in the project. These type of public-private partnerships, or PPPs, are typically off limits to the average person. But the blockchain will allow citizens to not only take part in the rebuilding of America, but also collect a nice stream of income too. In a way, it's already playing out in our energy grid. Residents of Park Slope area of Brooklyn are benefiting from a blockchain project called the Transactive Grid. So residents with solar panels are able to sell their power to the energy company and keep track of every transaction on the blockchain. It's so cool. In typical blockchain fashion, the energy grid is moving from a centralized grid run by a handful of utility companies to a decentralized grid owned by all the individuals that use it. The ability for businesses and homeowners to buy and sell energy will soon become the new normal.
You know, one area I'm very bullish on is the impact of blockchain on technology within the healthcare industry. It's $8.5 trillion industry. You know, the healthcare industry is still stuck in its ways of the dark ages. You know, that means there's a lot of room for improvement. You know, ever since COVID-19 rocked the world, it only accelerated the use and demand for blockchain. You know, take your medical records, for example. Many of us have multiple medical records with several different healthcare professionals. Trying to get those records to a new provider is often an agonizing and extremely frustrating process. And there's a huge cost associated with all that inefficiency. It's estimated that $2.1 billion is spent every single year trying to chase down and authenticate records. All this unnecessary work raises the cost of our insurance. That is where blockchain technology comes in. It will make today's absurd medical record-keeping system a thing of the past. And soon, blockchain programs will record, store, and transfer your medical records for a fraction of what today's medical record industry charges you. Health insurance giants like United Health Group already have blockchain projects in place to improve both accuracy and access to the information. It will make getting your medical records to a new doctor a breeze. Plus, it will make your records far more secure than ever before, which is so important in this day and age. Considering it's estimated that by 2024, everyone in the US will have had their healthcare data compromised at some point. Every single year in the US, healthcare breaches cost roughly $6 billion in losses. The blockchain is tackling this issue head on. It will save us all lots of money, time, and frustration. There's another area, which is drug discovery and authentication.
Yeah.
The blockchain is helping to verify the distribution of counterfeit drugs. In some places, Charlie, up to 30% of the medicines being prescribed are actually fake. Biotech and pharmaceutical giants, they're already using blockchain technology to track and trace their drugs from the time they're manufactured all the way to the patient. Pfizer, Biogen, and Merck all have major blockchain projects in works right now. Again, in a post-COVID world, the need for mass adoption of blockchain technology has never been more urgent. And just like the financial sector, blockchain is curbing scams and bringing a level of transparency not seen before. Charlie and I could go on and on about all the new exciting projects, and we kind of have already, that are taking place around the world. But I think you get the point by now and understand why many of the world's smartest people think blockchain technology is on par with technology like personal computers and the internet. Early internet pioneer and famous tech investor Mark Andreessen, he agrees with our outlook. He said point blank that blockchain is the most important invention since the internet. And his firm is betting over $1.5 billion on the success of the blockchain technology. For most people, the internet is an integral part of how we do our jobs at work and how we spend our free time. But blockchain technology will have a greater influence on our daily lives and in ways you never would have guessed. This technology, it will disrupt every single industry. And all this disruption and change is creating a once-in-a-lifetime financial opportunity for you and anyone else who acts today, Lauren.
All right, Charlie, Matt, you got me sold on the blockchain, right? It's the new computer, it's the new internet, it's the new electricity, it's the new printing press. But where do altcoins fit into all of this? Why invest in altcoins if there's already Bitcoin?
Yes, and I knew this question was coming. It's a great question. This is what the awakening is all about. All this disruption and change is creating a once-in-a-lifetime financial opportunity for you and anyone else who acts today. But like any new technology revolution, there are going to be many winners and losers. You simply can't have this amount of innovation and change without shaking things up a bit, right? Now, with most people, they think they can get exposure to blockchain's enormous growth potential by buying a stock like Visa, Amazon, or Facebook. Even though these companies are investing heavily in the blockchain, they're not direct blockchain plays. At the end of the day, if you buy Facebook, you're still buying a social media company. And if you buy Amazon, you're still buying an e-commerce company or a company that sells books. If you want the absolute best exposure to the full upside of the awakening, you need to back altcoins and not stocks. Remember, altcoins are lesser known cryptocurrencies, or basically any cryptocurrency that isn't Bitcoin. Alternative to Bitcoin is what altcoin stands for. But to truly understand the magnitude of this opportunity, you must understand that altcoins aren't really cryptocurrencies in the traditional sense of the word. They're not currencies at all, really. And this is a critical distinction where most people get hung up and confused. They think buying an altcoin is buying some sort of like speculative fantasy internet money. But what you're really buying is an ownership of a blockchain program. When you change your perspective on altcoins, you realize that they're not actually just fantasy internet money. They're investments in blockchain projects that make our lives easier, more productive, and more efficient. So when you're buying an altcoin, you're essentially acting as a venture capitalist. You're funding a small startup, blockchain companies that are trying to unseat these entrenched, inefficient models and companies that gouge us as customers. These companies are laying the groundwork for an entirely new world. Buying an altcoin is like buying an early stake in the software programs that make the internet so revolutionary. For many of you watching, this might be the most valuable information you'll ever hear, because altcoins are the only place you'll be able to capture extraordinary gains like 15,455%, 132,712%, or even the 262,195%, which is why Matt and I want to get all this information out to as many people as possible as fast as possible.
I just got to go back to what you said just a moment ago, Charlie. You're saying owning altcoins is like owning the software programs that basically established the internet back in the 90s?
That's exactly what he's saying. You know, if you know anything about software, you know it's one of the greatest wealth generators of the past 50 years, Lauren. You know, investing in the best altcoins right now is like investing in Bill Gates' Microsoft in 1986, just before the world went wild for productivity-enhancing software, and the shares rocketed 210,900%, which is enough to turn every $10,000 investment into over $21 million. Or like taking an early stake in software innovator Larry Ellison's Oracle in 1990, just before his business software was adopted by thousands of companies. And shares of Oracle then skyrocketed over 93,000%. Or even taking an early stake in Salesforce, which has become one of the world's leading business software companies as well. Shares are up 4,685% since the company's IPO in 2004. Now then there's Adobe Systems, the hugely popular software company, which went up an extraordinary 197,000%. In fact, John Bates, director of product management for Adobe, says blockchain is on par with technology like personal computers and the internet. Forget all the words you hear when people talk about cryptocurrencies and blockchain. They don't matter much when compared to these two key facts. Fact number one is the blockchain is the next transformational technology platform. Everything will soon use blockchain technology as it becomes a new internet. It will completely rewrite how business is done and personal fortunes are built in a modern age. If you fail to act now, you're actively passing up one of the greatest wealth creating events in human history. Now then there's fact number two. The only way you can have direct ownership in this groundbreaking technology is through altcoins. And remember, blockchain technology is going to destroy the middleman and revolutionize the way you bank, shop, heat your home, and so much more. These altcoins are not a currency in the traditional sense. And this story is so much bigger than Bitcoin. I'll say it again, Lauren. This is extremely important. Don't think of altcoins as currencies. This could be the costliest mistake you ever make. Think of them as revolutionary new software programs. Think of them as products that will unleash tsunamis of productivity and profits that will make their owners very, very rich. I believe you could easily make $1 million or more for yourself and your family during the coming awakening. The point is, altcoins are rewriting the way wealth is being created today. It's never been about overtaking Bitcoin. It's always been bigger than that, Lauren.
But Matt and Charlie too, there are so many altcoins. So can you share a few examples of altcoins that are already making a difference in the world?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There are all kinds of amazing altcoins making the world a better place. For example, one of the most popular altcoins is called Ripple.
Right.
Ripple is a blockchain program that addresses a real-world issue, which is the number one thing to keep in mind when you're looking to invest in a blockchain program. Ripple is revolutionizing the way individuals and banks send money across countries' borders. Up until recently, most people had to use a company like Western Union or MoneyGram to accomplish the same thing. So using these services could take up to a week or longer to transfer your money. And if you're transferring any meaningful amount of money, it could set you back a few $100. In some cases, it could cost you over $3,000 in transaction fees. To make matters worse, Western Union has become the go-to resource for online thieves. Western Union just had to pay back $586 million in stolen or lost money to people after admitting to aiding and abetting wire fraud. So Ripple, on the other hand, allows you to transfer money anywhere in the world in a fast, secure, and reliable manner. Instead of days or weeks, it only takes a maximum of 4 seconds for a transaction of any size on Ripple's platform. Wow. Instead of paying a hefty fee that in some cases could total hundreds of dollars or more, a single transaction fee on the Ripple network costs a fraction of a penny. And thanks to the blockchain, all transactions are unalterable and transparent, which guarantees security of your money and the security of the Ripple network. So This application has already attracted the attention of more than 100 banks across the world, like Bank of America, UBS, Barclays, JP Morgan Chase. Have you invested in Ripple before they hit the mainstream? You'd be up at least 2,600% today,
Wow.
which is enough to turn every $10,000 investment into $263,900. Keep in mind, the only way to get a piece of this revolution was to buy the altcoin. But over the last few years, a new wave of innovative technologies in blockchain companies have come out of the woodwork. This has ignited an altcoin renaissance, and it's already making the world a better place. One altcoin called Tyrion is helping corporate America fight back against cyber hackers. US office workers produce 50 trillion pages of documents every year. Could you believe that? Many of these documents are uploaded online where they're susceptible to hackers that are hunting for sensitive information. Remember the recent Equifax hack that exposed the personal information of 147 million Americans, including mine and my wife's? Or the recent Marriott hack, which leaked the private details, including contact information and passport numbers of over 500 million people who stayed at one of its hotels? Probably you're in there. For most companies, intellectual property and intellectual operations are their competitive edge. It's their edge. When sensitive information is hacked, it puts these organizations, their employees, and the general public at risk. But Tyrion is looking to make this a problem of the past. With just a single click of the mouse, users can instantly secure any document in less than 2 seconds. This altcoin has already begun helping 8,500 companies keep intellectual property safe, including tech giants Microsoft, Intel, and Dell. Tyrion is already on pace to help corporate America save $360 billion every year. Again, Lauren, this is exactly what you got to look for when you're investing in an altcoin. They must be harnessing the blockchain technology to improve a massive global issue. Tyrion is like the perfect example of this. And it's no surprise that their altcoin, which remember is the ownership of the proprietary blockchain software that does everything I just explained, that token has shot up as high as 487% in only a few months.
Wow.
Matt mentioned earlier that blockchain has had its sights on revolutionizing the healthcare industry from the get-go.
Right.
Well, one blockchain company called Metablock is shaking up the nearly $12 trillion global healthcare industry. It's rewriting the way our personal information is stored and shared across numerous healthcare and insurance companies. So this will save you a lot of time and money. No more writing down your medical information every time you go to the hospital. But it's not just about the security and the convenience. Metablock allows you to be 100% in control of your own information. You get to choose who gets to see it, and you get to choose who doesn't. Remember, it's estimated that by 2024, everyone in the US will have had their health data compromised. But that's not okay. Whether you realize it or not, Metablock is on the front lines fighting on behalf of you and I and our loved ones to keep our most sensitive data safe and secure. And because of this incredible work that they're doing, at one point, their altcoin was up an incredible 754%. I know. Again, the only way to join this blockchain revolution is to what? Own that altcoin. VE Chain is one of my favorites, another altcoin that's getting a lot of attention lately, and I'm really happy they are. It's pioneering the way companies use blockchain tech to track and authenticate their products across every step of the supply chain. From raw materials to finished goods to bananas, they're bringing a level of transparency and accountability never seen before. Every year, companies lose over $30 billion to counterfeit goods. But with the help of VE Chain, this issue will be a thing of the past. It's formed strategic partnerships with crazy companies like BMW and Walmart and pharmaceutical giant Bayer. Because of this, its altcoin went up as much as 809%, and all the owners were rewarded. Another great blockchain company is called Chainlink. It's changed the way companies collaborate and innovate together by securing and documenting the exchange of value of information. From the very beginning, it is focused heavily on mass adoption and ease of use of its program. And its blockchain-based smart contracts are quickly becoming the standard for the biggest companies around the world. So the World Economic Forum just awarded it out of 100 other companies the technology pioneer of 2020. and it recently teamed up with some heavy hitters like Google and Oracle. And as a result of this, Chainlink is up an incredible 1,200%. I'll say it again, 1,200% over the last year and a half. Can we say it together? On the altcoin, Lauren. Do you remember earlier how I said that blockchain is allowing individuals in Brooklyn and California to buy and sell their own energy?
Yeah, of course.
Well, a company called Sun Contract is an early pioneer of this, and they're applying the blockchain to the energy grid. What they're doing is they're decentralizing the entire power grid and tailoring it to the benefit of the individual and the consumer. So reliable energy is one of the most important building blocks of modern society. We've been talking about it for a long time. And for the first time ever, though, consumers are in the driver's seat instead of some big utility company. Mark my words, this will soon be the new standard for energy consumption around the world. With blockchain, you'll be able to sell unused energy to your neighbors for a profit. Sun Contract is already working closely with the European Union and has been awarded grants to make this a reality across the pond on our side. Sun Contract is a perfect example of how the blockchain can bring transparency to an industry and allow for true free markets and individuals to flourish. As you can probably guess, Sun Contract has been on the receiving end of a lot of attention because of its work. As a result, over a 6-month period, Sun Contract's altcoin soared as high as 3,735%.
Wow.
Which is enough to turn $5,000 invested into more than $186,000. It's crazy just thinking about it. Similar applications, I'm sweating. Similar applications from several providers are being rolled out in New York, California, Alabama, Vermont, Massachusetts, and DC.
Yeah, and there's another trend I've been closely following for a few years now, and that's artificial intelligence, known as AI. You know, AI is a $15 trillion megatrend. Effects.ai is using blockchain technology to quickly advance and organize this technology. Its blockchain platform allows for AI developers to safely and securely collaborate and share their data. So in other words, it's allowing thousands of the world's leading developers to share, automate, and build off each other's work. You know, this helps speed up the process and development of some of AI's most promising contributions, such as curing cancer, fighting world hunger, and accelerating space exploration. Effect.ai has already partnered with a variety of organizations like the United Nations, YouTube, and ING, just to name a few. Its coin price has rallied as high as 816% this year. These are just a few examples of how blockchain companies are making a huge impact on the world's biggest industries, and how owning their altcoins can make you a lot of money in the blink of an eye. All told, if you had put $1,000 into each altcoin we just discussed, you would have made over $100,000. $10,000 in each would have made you $1 million.
Wow.
And most of these gains came in just a handful of months. Now, of course, all investments carry risk. Past performance does not indicate future success. We would never recommend investing any amount of money you aren't willing to lose. And keep in mind, the crypto space specifically can be volatile.
Yes.
You know, all that being said, the potential here is extraordinary. The best part of all of this is it's just the beginning. You know, Charlie has been on the blockchain front lines for over 10 years, folks. And I think he'd agree the best is yet to come. And remember, we are here on the adoption curve. We're still in the very early stages, which means the biggest gains are still ahead of us. Bitcoin was just the beginning. Now, the next chapter is ready to be told. What's coming will be so much bigger than anything that we've ever seen before. Folks, the awakening is almost here. But the time to act is right now, because blockchain technology is already being implemented on a massive scale. And the COVID-19 crisis has only accelerated the adoption. When the US government sent out trillions of dollars in stimulus checks to individuals and small businesses, it took weeks to get the checks into people's hands. In response to this, the government is now considering the creation of a digital Fed account. This would allow Americans and business owners to receive funds in a matter of minutes. The Federal Reserve is also considering the creation of a blockchain-based central bank digital currency. Here's what one of the board members had to say about implementing a central bank coin. Today, it take a few days to get access to your funds. A real-time digital payments infrastructure would ensure the funds are available immediately. They pay utility bills or split the rent with roommates, or for small businesses to pay their suppliers. The world's largest companies are also quickly going all in on blockchain technology. Companies like Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Facebook are all investing billions in blockchain technology. Healthcare, finance, energy, government infrastructure, e-commerce, real estate, you name it. It's all going to be drastically improved by blockchain technology. There will be countless altcoin opportunities coming online, and any one of them could make you a fortune, which is why serial entrepreneur Peter Thiel has invested over $50 million in blockchain projects. Why Wall Street billionaires like Paul Tudor Jones and JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon have changed their stance and are now fully embracing this incredible technology. The last time something this transformational happened was in the mid-90s, just before the internet went mainstream. Since then, thousands of millionaires have been created, as well as numerous billionaires. This same story will play out again, only this time on an even bigger scale. Charlie and I are here today because we want to help you learn more about blockchain, and most importantly, learn how to potentially make a fortune from the blockchain awakening. In a moment, Charlie's going to share the name and ticker symbol of one of the most promising altcoins we've ever seen.
We definitely can't wait for that,
Okay.
Charlie. But before you tell us which altcoin you're most excited about right now, I have to ask this. How do our viewers know which altcoins to buy in order to take advantage of the blockchain awakening?
Even though the blockchain awakening, Lauren's going to mint thousands of new millionaires, not all opportunities will be worth pursuing. It's not like shooting fish in a barrel. There are several factors you should look for when you're investing your hard-earned money into an altcoin. But there are two important criteria that altcoins must meet. The first is that they must solve a real issue in the world that is a big addressable market. Here's why. As we discussed earlier, altcoins aren't online fantasy money or a substitute for the dollar. They're early-stage ownership stakes in fast-growing blockchain technology. Like any other early-stage venture, the more lives it can impact and improve, the more money that will be made. A great example is a small altcoin called Dentacoin. It is not an altcoin I would ever recommend my readers buy. Dentacoin was created by a London-based tooth implant clinic. Its goal is to create a token-based economy in which patients pay their dentists with Dentacoin. Well, the problem here is that the dental market is too niche for us to see any massive gains. There are only 60 dentists for every 100,000 citizens in America. To make matters worse, the entire US dental market is only growing at a rate of 2% per year. This market literally won't grow significantly anytime soon. Although this altcoin can make the lives of the dentist easier, it's not likely to grow to a huge valuation. And that means there won't be a lot of money made here. It's simply just not a big enough market. In fact, Charlie, you know this, since 2018, Dentacoin has fallen 99%.
I was trying not to laugh as we were talking.
Well, then there's a second criteria that altcoins must meet, perhaps the most important one. They must have a great team in place. For as revolutionary as blockchain technology is, you want to invest alongside founders and CEOs who have successful track records or are very connected to this world. When you're looking to back a new altcoin or blockchain project, you need to make sure there's a good team in place, which is exactly why I reached out to Charlie and sitting next to me right now. He knows what altcoins or blockchain projects have the best teams in place. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is as plugged into this world as Charlie is right now. Charlie, without a doubt, knows where the best, most lucrative opportunities are today. He's been there since the very beginning, folks. He's done more for the adoption of blockchain technology than anyone else in the world. He was one of the first on the planet to even know what the blockchain was, as well as one of the earliest backers. He's created one of the first crypto exchanges where up to 1/3 of all Bitcoin transactions took place. He was a founding member of the Bitcoin Foundation. He's on a first-name basis with all the leading developers, programmers, and investors. When you look at the gains Charlie has made in this space and the project he's worked on, it's unreal, folks. One company he's worked with was Genesis Vision.
Oh, yeah.
The new blockchain protocol is revolutionizing the way folks buy and sell stock. And its altcoin has soared as high as 1,655%. He was so closely involved with another altcoin called Atomic Wallet, which is innovating the way folks buy and store altcoins. And since its launch in early 2019, it's up an incredible 3,800%, Charlie.
Those three you just mentioned, Effect AI and those other two, were actually ones that I was talking about to my followers and listeners before they had even launched and the token was even created.
See, that's what I mean, having, inside that we have here.
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating though when I say Charlie has the connections and the know-how when it comes to blockchain technology. When Charlie speaks, the crypto world listens, folks. He knows all the projects taking place in the world, as he just mentioned. Most importantly, he knows better than anyone which altcoins will be duds and which ones could show you extraordinary gains. And that is why I teamed up with Charlie to form the greatest altcoin investing research service ever created. We're calling it the Crypto Investors Network.
Guys, this sounds incredible. So what made you decide to create the world's first crypto investors network research service?
Two
Charlie?
words, Lauren, the awakening. When the world finally wakes up to the truth that altcoins aren't fantasy internet money, but rather ownership stakes in the most valuable and revolutionary technology ever created, there will be a massive, massive rush into these investments. The goal of the Crypto Investors Network is to help everyday folks understand what is happening and to learn how to capitalize on that coming revolution.
And that's where, Charlie excels, Lauren. He knows where all the best opportunities are right now.
Right.
He's been living and breathing blockchain for over a decade. He's been involved in the biggest and most important projects. There will be literally dozens of opportunities to make a fortune in the coming months and years as this blockchain revolution goes mainstream. We've already got several big altcoin recommendations lined up for our new members, Charlie. It's important to understand just how crucial it is to have somebody like Charlie guiding you through all of this.
But I couldn't do it alone, Lauren. That's why I teamed up with Matt and the incredible people at Investor Place to help me get this critical message out. I've been following Matt's career closely over the last few years, and what he's accomplished is simply incredible. Based on his track record alone, Matt could easily be sitting in the corner office of some prestigious Wall Street firm, spending every weekend at the Hamptons.
Right.
Like you said earlier, he's recommended dozens of stocks that have gone up anywhere from 100 to 900%, and 18 recommendations that have soared past that coveted 1,000% mark, like 2,670% on AMD, or over 2,000% on Ulta Beauty, and over 2,700% from Stamps.com. Great call. I've seen personal messages that Matt's received over the years from his readers, and they're incredible. Matt, much like myself, isn't driven by money. He cares deeply about helping people have the chance to secure financial freedom by investing in future technologies. So, a few months ago, Matt and I started talking about the incredible opportunity everyday folks have in altcoins today. One thing led to another, and the decision to start an all-inclusive research service for folks who want to learn more about crypto, it kind of became a no-brainer. We both dropped everything and put all our resources into this new alliance.
Well, Matt, it is also worth mentioning that you're very accomplished recommending crypto as well. You've recommended several altcoins in the past that have seen open gains as high as 692%, 267%, and over 140%. In fact, your altcoin recommendations on average have outperformed Bitcoin this year by a huge margin. And many of your readers from your Ultimate Crypto Research Service, they've been very pleased. Here's what a few of them had to say. Matt's cryptocurrency research is awesome. From Tom, and loving the service. Thank you for the insight, says David. I was reluctant to invest in altcoins, but after your explanations and reports, I felt comfortable. We are off to a good start. Thank you.
Lauren, I am proud of results that my current readers are seeing, but now that I've partnered up with Charlie, I know we're going to help people have the chance to see some amazing gains. In fact, Charlie and I have just identified 4 different altcoins about to soar. We put them in a new report that we're calling the 4 altcoins to buy now for 1,000% and beyond. One of the altcoins in there is easily the most dominant in the world. Its blockchain platform is used by the most powerful companies in the world, like Amazon, Microsoft, and JP Chase. And they arguably have the biggest community of developers and blockchain projects in the world, which easily makes it one of the best altcoins to buy for the blockchain awakening. Another one of the altcoins in the report is taking the financial industry by storm. has already secured several landmark deals with major banks all over the world. And they're averaging 30 new deals or strategic partnerships per quarter. It currently has its sights on disrupting the $2 trillion that transacts across country borders every single year. We believe news will quickly spread and this altcoin's price will soon go through the roof. And remember, altcoins can soar thousands of percent in a matter of weeks or months. So it's imperative you know how to get situated right now. This brand new report will tell you everything you need to know about these 4 altcoins, including the buy up to price. And if you join our research service within the next 30 minutes, we'll even throw in a copy of our Altcoin Millionaires Playbook.
Well, how easy is it to buy these altcoins?
Well, it really is easy, Lauren. You know, all you need to do is set up an account for buying and selling cryptocurrencies. It's as simple as opening a regular brokerage account. It only takes a few minutes to set up. And once you fund your account, you're off to the races. But even though it's easy to get started, we realize this is a totally new situation to a lot of people. So, to help you get set up, Charlie and I, we've created a special report called the Altcoin Investing for Beginners. This report walks you through everything you need to know, step by step, like how to buy and sell altcoins, how to quickly and safely set up an account, and how to navigate a cryptocurrency exchange. You'll be shocked at how easy it is to get started. But just in case, we have got you covered. In 10 minutes or less, you'll have full access to the names of 4 of the most important altcoins of the future. We're giving away these 3 reports for free if you become a charter member of the Crypto Investor Network. And like we said, our mission is simple: to help you and thousands of others have the chance to see gains from the coming blockchain technology boom. The mass adoption of blockchain will be the biggest technological event of the next 50 years. By joining the Crypto Investors Network today, you'll be in a position to see some amazing gains, Lauren.
So what happens once we join the Crypto Investors Network?
Well, that's a great question. You know, once you become a member, you'll immediately gain full access to our private website, and you'll instantly be part of one of the most connected crypto research services on the planet. Now, this members only site is where we'll publish breaking blockchain stories and brand new investment opportunities unfolding throughout the world. Every month, we'll send you a research report detailing new, exciting altcoin opportunities. You'll be the first to hear about these incredible opportunities after Charlie and I come up with them as soon as they come across our desk. We'll also update you about our altcoin model portfolio every single month.
All right, this can't be cheap. You got to tell us, how much does it cost to join Crypto Investors Network?
It is true. You know, we could charge a lot of money for this type of high caliber research and a level of access to Charlie's network. In fact, I produce similar altcoin research that sells for a retail price of $3,500, and people will gladly pay it. But ultimately, Charlie and I sat down and we decided that everyone, no matter their current situation, should have access to this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So, after some back and forth, we decided to set the charter membership price at a low price of $199. And the price will only go up from there. But if you respond right now, become a charter member for as little as $99. That's 50% off. This steeply discounted offer is only available to you right now. It's also worth mentioning that joining the Crypto Investors Network is 100% risk-free as well.
What do you mean by that, Matt?
Well, if 90 days from now you are not 100% satisfied with your decision to join the network, or if you think Charlie and I aren't living up to our promise, just let us know and you will receive a prompt full refund. You'll be able to keep all the reports and we'll simply part as friends.
Wow, guys, that's amazing. So not only are you willing to offer this steep 50% discount for new charter members who will join today, and you're guaranteeing their success because you have a 100% satisfaction guarantee, but you're also willing to give them full access for the next 90 days, risk-free?
That's correct, Lauren. We're only willing to do this because, we know that you're going to love being a member of our new research service. You could soon be seeing gains you previously thought never possible. And if for whatever reason you think Charlie and I aren't delivering on that promise, then we'll gladly refund every penny. The reality is it takes a lot of money to produce this level of research. It requires constant travel, hiring researchers, designers, and a whole host of other professionals that make the Crypto Investors Network so incredible. Your membership fees go directly to making that network possible. We want you to be a partner and not just a customer. We want you to have the chance to see some amazing gains from the upcoming blockchain awakening. And we know the Crypto Investors Network will be the place where serious folks congregate. But more importantly, we both want to build an enduring partnership with you, which requires Charlie and I to first take on all the risk. So if our work doesn't speak for itself 90 days from now, or we don't live up to the promise, we'll give you every penny back.
Oh, thank you for clearing that up, Matt. Now, before we get to wrap things up here, let's get to the moment we have all been waiting for. Charlie, we're dying to know, what's one altcoin you are excited about right now?
One altcoin I believe everyone should consider buying today is Tron, TRX. It's roughly the 17th largest altcoin by market cap right now, but it'll easily become a top 10, if not a top 5 altcoin very soon. Tron and its CEO, Justin Sun, realized early the financial power of having a large and robust community. He has been on a merger spree, buying up smaller communities and projects and bring them into the TRX fold. We need to watch TRX and those other coins of communities he brings into that fold. But I'll be perfectly honest, the best way to learn how to profit from blockchain is to become that charter member of our Crypto Investors Network today. You'll get full details on all the best altcoins to buy now in our special report. The 4 altcoins to buy now for 1,000% and beyond. Inside, you'll get a more in-depth review of Tron, including the buy up to price, greater details about the opportunity, and so much more.
Charlie, thank you so much for sharing that huge tip. All right, folks, this concludes our presentation.
As we've said throughout, you get 3 brand new special reports immediately if you start a risk-free trial membership to the world's first Crypto Investors Network. Remember, these 4 altcoins could soar 1,000% or more starting today. And if you want to see a lot of gains over the coming year, you need to learn how to get situated right now. By joining the Crypto Investors Network today, you'll immediately gain access to research that isn't available anywhere else online. You'll also lock in the cheapest price that both myself and Charlie will ever offer as a new charter member. You can take the next 90 days to read through all the special reports and private briefings. If, for whatever reason, you're not happy with the decision, simply let us know. You'll receive a full refund immediately. It looks like a lot of people are already placing their orders to become a new charter member. If you're still on the fence, please also remember that both myself and Charlie are willing to back our new research by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. To get started immediately, please click the bottom of the screen, that little button down there. You'll be taken to a secure order form where you can review everything you'll get by becoming a new charter member to the Crypto Investors Network.
On behalf of me, Charlie, Matt, we sincerely hope you take advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. 99% of the population has no idea what's taking place behind the scenes. The mass adoption of the blockchain will mint thousands of new millionaires and change the very fabric of society, according to these guys. The decision you make right now could change your life forever and open doors to new experiences you may have never dreamt possible. Again, all you have to do is click that button below to get started. To everyone at home, thank you for tuning in, and here's to your newfound